Within every one of us lies a reservoir of hidden potential, abilities and strengths we often underestimate or never dare to explore. In Hidden Potential, Adam Grant reveals how success is not reserved for the most talented or privileged, but for those who learn to nurture resilience, embrace challenges, and unlock the power within themselves. This book is not just about achieving more, it is about becoming more. Chapter 1, Rethinking Talent, What Hidden Potential actually means. We carry a cultural myth that talent is a fixed endowment. People are born with something called ability, and the rest of us either have it or don't. That myth is convenient because it explains inequality as destiny. It also excuses inaction. If you don't have the gift, why bother practicing? Adam Grant's central provocation is the opposite. Potential is malleable, distributed, and often invisible because we measure it the wrong way. Hidden potential is not a secret power reserved for a lucky few. It is the set of capacities that can blossom when the right mixture of curiosity, challenge, feedback, and opportunity is applied. To identify potential, we must stop asking who is already excellent and start asking who shows the right learning signals. Learning signals are the observable behaviors that predict future growth, appetite for feedback, stubborn persistence with new techniques, curiosity that leads to cross-domain borrowing, and reactions to early failure that demonstrate adaptation rather than collapse. Those signals are modest, easy to miss, and often overshadowed by flashy early wins. A prodigy may dazzle at 12 and plateau by 20, while a steady adapter who embraces discomfort often surpasses them. The chapter reframes talent assessment from static measurement to dynamic prediction. Instead of relying on test scores and past accolades, look for behavioral indicators. How does a person respond to coaching? Do they seek hard problems or avoid them? Do they persevere when immediate success is absent? These habits matter more than an initial aptitude snapshot. The practical implication for leaders, educators, and individuals is straightforward. Cultivate environments that surface and amplify learning signals. That means creating structures where trying and failing are low-cost experiments, where effort is visible and rewarded, and where incremental progress is logged and discussed. It means replacing auditions with apprenticeships, a one-shot evaluation with trial periods, and public displays of being good with private rituals of improvement. For individuals, the message is empowering. Potential is a process, not a verdict. You are better off investing time in habits that produce compounding improvement, deliberate practice, metacognitive reflection, and broadening experiences than in seeking validation for a presumed gift. This reorientation changes how institutions hire and promote, how teachers nurture students, and how people plan careers. It favors those who learn faster over those who performed best early. Finally, it dissolves the moral undertow of deservingness embedded in the idea of innate talent. If potential is cultivated, then responsibility and agency widen. People can design the conditions for their own growth. Hidden potential, then, is not hidden because it is rare. It is hidden because we look for the wrong signals. This first chapter sets the stage. To unlock latent capacity, we must adopt a growth-minded lens, build systems that reward learning, and train ourselves to recognize the subtle markers of future excellence. Chapter 2. The mechanics of mastery, practice, feedback, and the time horizon. Once potential is reframed as dynamically discoverable, the question becomes mechanical. How is talent turned into expertise? The short answer: through intentional practice, high-quality feedback, and patience. But beneath that simple recipe lies nuance. Not all practice is equal. The critical distinction is between mere repetition and deliberate practice. Deliberate practice isolates the specific sub-skills that limit performance, designs tasks that stretch ability just beyond current competence, and includes immediate, targeted feedback. It is uncomfortable by design. Comfort indicates the practice is no longer producing learning. Deliberate practice benefits from an architecture. First, break complex capabilities into component parts you can train in isolation. An orator works on breadth, projection, and rhetorical framing separately before assembling them on stage. Second, design micro goals and frequent measurements so progress is visible. Third, embed corrective feedback loops, mentors, coaches, or algorithmic tutors that calibrate effort. Feedback is not merely praise, it is diagnostic. Praise without data creates complacency. Data without psychological support creates discouragement. The most effective feedback is specific, timely, and actionable. Time horizon matters more than we admit. Many people expect linear gains, then quit when returns are invisible. Growth is exponential. Early investments compound. The researcher who codes an hour daily for 5 years accumulates not 5 times more competence than someone coding sporadically. They accumulate cognitive scaffolds and pattern recognition that multiply learning. This is why the chapter emphasizes time as a friend. Make multi-year bets on capability building that enlarge optionality later. For managers, this requires tolerating short-term dips in productivity for long-term capability growth. A company that allows junior hires to spend 20% of time learning may see a short-term cost but reaps innovation and retention benefits later. Another practical lever is variability. Practice under varied conditions builds transferable skill. Don't only rehearse the ideal scenario, rehearse under pressure, with missing information, and with alternative constraints. This makes the system robust. Finally, incubation matters. People who rotate intense practice with strategic rest often achieve better breakthroughs. The brain consolidates difficult learning during sleep and low-focus moments. Forcing endless drilling can be counterproductive. The mechanics of mastery, then, are not only sweat and repetition, but smart design, componentization, feedback, patience, variability, and recovery. The individual who masters these elements will outpace those relying on raw ability alone. Chapter 3. Motivation. Reimagined. Purpose, curiosity, and the energy to persist. Practice without motivation is an empty engine. This chapter digs into what fuels prolonged effort. The blend of intrinsic motives, curiosity, autonomy, mastery, and extrinsic structures, incentives, accountability, that sustain the difficult work of growth. Conventional motivation frameworks either lean on carrot-and-stick extrinsic incentives or on vague exhortations about find your passion. Grant offers a nuanced middle path. Shape environments that cultivate meaningful, controllable motivation. 3 motifs recur as robust drivers. First, purpose. Seeing how your efforts connect to a larger narrative sustains persistence when the immediate rewards are thin. An engineer persists through repetitive tests because they see how a product improves lives. A clinician endures tedious charting because it enables better patient outcomes. Purpose need not be grandiose. It can be proximal and personal. I help my team avoid mistakes is a potent anchor. Second, curiosity drives exploration. Curiosity turns practice into play It makes the uncomfortable interesting. Design tasks to invite questions, puzzles, and surprise, elements that keep attention engaged over long arcs. Third, autonomy, control over how you learn and apply skills, greatly augments motivation. When people have scope to choose, they invest more. Chapter 4. Social architecture, mentors, peers, and the learning ecosystem. No one becomes exceptional alone. The social environment shapes who learns and how fast they do. This chapter reframes mentorship, networks, and peer groups not as optional extras, but as central levers for converting potential into realized capability. Mentors accelerate learning by providing curated experience, corrective feedback, and access to higher-level problems. But mentorship works best when reciprocal and structured. Learners should come prepared with specific questions and experiments. Mentors help design those experiments and hold learners accountable. Peer groups perform a different role. Cohorts create norms of practice, implicit competition, and mutual aid. Humans are social learners. Seeing a peer struggle publicly and then improve normalizes the difficult path. Carefully designed cohort experiences, problem-based learning, paired practice, and shared reflection create social pressure to persist and opportunities to cross-pollinate ideas. Teams that embrace a learn publicly ethic often innovate faster because mistakes become shared data rather than private shame. The wider learning ecosystem includes institutional signals, promotion criteria, reward systems, and time allocations. Organizations that award risk-taking and learning, not only flawless short-term performance, create cultures where potential is activated. Conversely, systems that punish early failure bury latent talent. For educators and managers, the chapter calls for redesigning incentives, celebrate iterative progress, create micro-residencies where novices try high-level tasks accompanied by scaffolding, and formalize mentorship as a judged capability rather than an informal favor. Access matters and equity shows up here. Hidden potential often hides in people who have not had exposure to high-quality mentorship or networks. Deliberate programs that democratize access, scholarships, rotational programs, open coaching platforms, unlock broad pools of talent. Finally, social architecture includes tools, feedback dashboards, shared repositories of microlearning, and platforms that track developmental milestones. Chapter 5. Transfer and Creativity. Turning skill into innovation. Skill acquisition is valuable, but the highest return on learning is transfer, the ability to apply what you know to new problems. This chapter examines how to design learning that generalizes. Too many practice regimes create narrow experts who fail when contexts shift. The antidote is deliberate variability in practice and the cultivation of analogical thinking. Variable practice, training under multiple constraints and conditions, forces learners to extract core principles rather than memorize surface routines. That extraction is what makes knowledge portable. Analogical thinking is the engine of creativity. It's the habit of mapping structures across domains, treating a sales funnel like a neural network, seeing organizational culture like an ecosystem, or borrowing rhythm from music to organize code. Training analogical thinking begins with deliberate cross-domain exposure, reading widely, building projects in adjacent fields, and reflecting explicitly on patterns that recur across contexts. Mentors and peer groups can accelerate transfer by posing transfer prompts. How would you apply this principle in context X? This simple question forces abstraction and deepens understanding. Chapter 6. The Science of Resilience, Building Strength from Setbacks. Resilience is not a personality trait that some people simply inherit. It is a learnable process of adapting to adversity, regaining equilibrium, and using hardship as a stimulus for growth. Hidden potential often reveals itself in the moments when things go wrong. People who appear ordinary during smooth sailing demonstrate extraordinary capacities when the storm arrives. This chapter explains resilience as a combination of cognitive framing, emotional regulation, and behavioral strategies. The first component is cognitive reframing, the ability to interpret setbacks not as permanent verdicts on ability, but as temporary feedback loops. This aligns with psychologist Martin Seligman's theory of explanatory style. Chapter 7. Power of character, grit, integrity, and humility. Potential does not only hinge on cognitive horsepower, it also depends on character, the moral and psychological qualities that guide behavior when no one is watching. Character is often invisible, but it determines whether talent compounds or collapses. This chapter unpacks 3 traits that repeatedly distinguish those who realize hidden potential from those who squander it: grit, integrity, and humility. Grit is persistence plus passion. It is the refusal to abandon a meaningful pursuit despite obstacles. Grit is not stubbornness for its own sake, but the sustained commitment to long-term goals. Research by Angela Duckworth shows grit predicts achievement beyond IQ or talent. Grit grows when goals are aligned with values and when individuals learn to celebrate process, not just results. Practical grit training includes setting multi-year projects, breaking them into sub-goals, and practicing recovery after setbacks. Chapter 8. Learning to learn, metacognition, and adaptive strategies. One of the greatest predictors of future success is not what you know, but how you learn. Metacognition, the awareness of your own thinking processes, allows individuals to diagnose their strengths, compensate for weaknesses, and adjust learning strategies dynamically. This chapter explores the science of learning to learn, a meta skill that unlocks hidden potential across any domain. Metacognitive learners constantly ask, how am I approaching this task? Is my strategy effective? What evidence do I have? They monitor progress, adjust techniques, and resist the illusion of competence. For example, rereading notes feels productive but produces little retention. Testing yourself through recall is harder but more effective. People with high metacognition avoid such traps. Adaptive strategies also matter. Effective learners maintain a repertoire of approaches: visualization, analogy, spaced repetition, elaborative questioning, and switch when one fails. They do not cling to a single style but treat learning as experimentation. This adaptability accelerates growth because it prevents stagnation. Another dimension is error management. High performers interpret errors as data. They deliberately make productive mistakes to map boundaries of knowledge. Chapter 9. Environment by Design. How context shapes. Capability? Environment is not a backdrop to talent development. It is an active force that enables or disables growth. This chapter emphasizes that hidden potential often remains hidden because the surrounding environment discourages exploration, risk-taking, or sustained effort. Conversely, a well-designed environment can dramatically accelerate learning and achievement. 3 environmental levers matter most: physical space, cultural norms, and structural incentives. Physical space influences behavior subtly but powerfully. Open, light-filled rooms increase collaboration. Quiet zones promote deep work. Tools and resources should be visible and accessible. Small changes, whiteboards on every wall, digital dashboards, libraries within reach, send signals that learning is expected. Cultural norms are even more potent. If a group normalizes experimentation, failure becomes acceptable. If a group celebrates only flawless output, people conceal mistakes. Leaders set tone by modeling vulnerability, admitting ignorance, asking questions, and sharing their own learning process. This transforms culture from performance-obsessed to growth-obsessed. Chapter 10. The Role of Luck. Chance, Opportunity, and How to Prepare for Serendipity. It may feel uncomfortable, but chance plays a major role in who realizes their potential. The right mentor encountered at the right time, the unforeseen opportunity, the accident that opens a new path. Luck is real. Yet luck is not uncontrollable chaos. While we cannot dictate when chance appears, we can increase exposure to luck and be prepared to exploit it when it comes. This chapter reframes luck as a variable you can influence indirectly. Exposure to luck comes from increasing surface area, meeting more people, exploring more environments, trying more experiments. People who hide in narrow routines reduce opportunities for serendipity. Chapter 11. The courage to embrace imperfection. In a world obsessed with perfection, many people shy away from opportunities because they fear making mistakes. Yet the truth is that hidden potential flourishes in imperfection. Every great innovator, thinker, or leader has stumbled countless times before reaching excellence. Adam Grant emphasizes that the courage to take action, despite imperfection, is what separates those who grow from those who stagnate. When we allow ourselves to be seen as flawed learners instead of polished performers, we gain freedom. That freedom creates room for creativity, curiosity, and experimentation. Instead of asking, "Will I succeed?" the question becomes, "What will I learn?" The courage to be imperfect is the courage to unlock potential waiting beneath the surface. Chapter 12. The role of persistence in hidden potential. Talent without persistence is like a seed never watered. It cannot grow. Persistence is not blind repetition. It is a disciplined commitment to improvement, fueled by purpose. Hidden potential often lies dormant because people give up too soon, mistaking early struggle for a sign of failure. Grant explains that persistence requires redefining failure as feedback. When Thomas Edison experimented thousands of times before inventing the light bulb, he was not failing, he was refining. The persistence to continue despite obstacles builds resilience, and resilience is the soil in which potential takes root. With persistence, hidden capabilities slowly turn into visible achievements, one small step at a time. Chapter 13. The hidden power of curiosity. Curiosity is often underestimated, yet it is the engine of growth. While intelligence may determine how fast we learn, curiosity determines how far we go. Those who ask why and what if constantly push the boundaries of what is known. Grant illustrates that hidden potential is rarely uncovered by sticking to the obvious path. It is the curious explorer who discovers hidden opportunities, unseen solutions, and unconventional strategies. Curiosity transforms ordinary minds into extraordinary thinkers. The childlike wonder that drives exploration is the same force that propels scientists, artists, and entrepreneurs to uncover greatness. To unlock hidden potential, one must first ignite curiosity. Chapter 14. Building resiliency through struggle. Struggle is often painted as a negative, something to avoid at all costs, but in reality, struggle is the forge in which resilience is crafted. When life challenges us, it is not merely testing our strength, it is shaping it. Grant argues that hidden potential is often discovered in the crucible of adversity. People who endure hardship without surrendering emerge stronger, more creative, and more determined. Resilience is not the absence of pain, but the capacity to grow through it. Just as a muscle tears before it becomes stronger, the human spirit must be tested before its true potential is revealed. Chapter 15. The value of community in unlocking potential. No one uncovers hidden potential in isolation. Behind every individual who achieves greatness stands a network of support, teachers, mentors, friends, and even rivals. Grant explains that communities shape potential by providing both encouragement and challenge. Supportive networks remind us of our worth during setbacks, while challenging networks push us to rise beyond comfort zones. The greatest potentials often bloom when people are surrounded by those who believe in them, sometimes even more than they believe in themselves. A nurturing community creates the conditions for potential to grow and for individuals to strive for heights they never thought possible. Chapter 16. The Balance of Confidence and Humility. Hidden potential is unlocked when confidence and humility work together. Too much confidence blinds us to growth, while too little prevents us from trying. Humility without confidence breeds insecurity. Confidence without humility breeds arrogance. Grant highlights that the true key is confident humility, the belief that we are capable of growth while acknowledging that we always have more to learn. This balance allows people to pursue ambitious goals without fear of failure, while remaining open to feedback and correction. It is within this balance that hidden potential transforms into sustained progress. Chapter 17. Redefining Success. For most people, success is measured by status, money, or recognition. But Grant suggests a deeper definition. Success is the alignment between our growth and our values. Hidden potential does not reveal itself in the pursuit of external approval, but in the pursuit of meaningful progress. Redefining success means celebrating the process, not just the outcome. It is the courage to measure success not by comparison with others, but by improvement of oneself. When success is redefined as growth and contribution, hidden potential ceases to be hidden. It becomes an ongoing journey of becoming. Chapter 18. Living a Life of Possibility. The final chapter closes with a call to live a life of possibility. Too often, people live within invisible boundaries created by fear, doubt, and societal expectations. Grant argues that hidden potential is not a treasure buried deep within. It is a horizon that expands the more we move toward it. To live a life of possibility is to embrace curiosity, resilience, persistence, and humility every day. It is to wake up and ask, what more am I capable of today? The journey never ends because the potential within us is infinite. The choice to uncover it lies in the courage to begin. Conclusion. Adam Grant's hidden potential reminds us that greatness is not reserved for a chosen few. It lives in each of us, waiting to be awakened by curiosity, persistence, resilience, community, and a redefined vision of success. The journey is not about perfection, but about progress, not about reaching a destination, but about expanding what is possible.